Welcome to Get Serious. I wanted to go over some thoughts on just gratitude. I know, and anybody says that nowadays with all the mental health and um, uh, Huberman, etc. type science, like, oh my God, just another thoughts on gratitude. Yes, I know we got to be grateful, etc., etc. But it bears worth reminding in like multiple different dimensions, right? I think we all whenever we hear that word, it's like, oh yeah, I remember I should be grateful. Yeah. Kind of brush it aside, but in order to really embrace it, like, I think it really is a daily practice, sometimes even a minute by minute, hour by hour practice to really sort through this. And I was working through this book list that I've had, and I stopped adding books to my to read list nowadays. Like anytime like a recommendation just comes in, sorry, I can't put it on. I think I already have a list that I'll probably die before I ever get through it. But it's just like, okay, study by study, beat here. I can actually knock out some of these books. Some are going to be more relevant. Some I can just do like AI summaries for and get through it. And I saw this book that was written by this author, this woman who was at a mastermind with me the first time I ever visited in Austin, 2016, like almost 10 years ago. Her name is Lineca Cruz, or it is, I believe she's still with us. She wasn't ancient or anything. And it was called Beggars Can Be Choosers. And it's just got buried on my to read list for literally almost 10 years, forgotten about. Like, oh, let me pick this up. Let me see what this was about. And I haven't been in touch with Lineca since we were at that mastermind. I honestly can kind of barely remember most of the folks there. I was a very different person at that point too. And I started reading this book and really, really struck me hard because I'm not sure what country she grew up in. It doesn't seem to be the US, but was homeless for, I think, a good chunk of her teenage years. And, the short version, I would encourage you to read it. It's a fairly short read. I'm not fully done, but around halfway. But her mom just abandoned her at age 14. Like even pre-planned it. It's like a pretty wild story. It wasn't just like randomly one day. It's like, hey, I'm going to take your younger sister and we are leaving to go off to try to restart somewhere else, and we're just going to leave you here. It's just astonishing to me. And it's like, she grew up in a really violent home. Dad was not a good person either, from the way she would tell it, and just really, really rough upbringing. And without getting into too many of the details, but just how she had to adapt to life on the street in a city, and just how wary she was and distrustful of people, especially being a young girl and trying to avoid the authorities from getting placed into welfare and no foster home or anything like that. And so she'd be super, super careful, just, again, really developing true street smarts from such an early age and just learning to sense violence. And I can see that sometimes in my own life. Like I was on the total opposite spectrum. I grew up in, fortunately, a loving family. At least my immediate family. My extended family definitely had some issues, some like very, very major issues, but my immediate family, for the most part, was stable by relative standards, a lot of resources growing up, and just like an unimaginable, northern suburbs of Chicago. This author, where she just had to just adapt and change. Like every single day was just a fight for survival, and just how deep she had to reach into herself to keep finding kind of the light that she had within herself, and just creating these visions of, hey, my life is just going to be better one day, and I gotta keep putting one foot in front of the other and just continue to make a choice and take an action to reach for that next step. Because again, if you don't take action, this is like similar to that topic I talked about, I think about a week ago. Just in order to find luck, you have to take action. And she arrived at this conclusion as homeless 14-year-old with literally no friends, no help at all, like truly alone. Rare to think about nowadays. Like I don't think I've ever read in-depth perspectives from somebody who dealt firsthand with homelessness, especially at a young age, for an extended period of time. And she did manage to and I haven't got to the part of the book where she managed to turn her life around. Obviously, she was at this mastermind where I think it cost us all like $10,000 to be there for this weekend. together in Austin. So clearly she found a way to, come from literally nothing and, find some level of success later on in life. And again, just like reading an account like that, it just really, really compelling. First off, to read, just I can't believe another human being had to go through this and survive through it and not just give up, and also have to put in perspective for myself of like, sure, everybody has their key problems we're dealing with, and a lot of champagne problems in comparison, all have certain stressors, but there is just like, no, it's hard to imagine how bad things would have to be in my life to get to that point. Like, even if my business failed or ran out of money, like I would still have all these key skills that I could get back on my feet. I hope I would still have my family, that we could sort things out together, still have family resources if really needed to work that angle, or friends who would believe in me and support to get back on my feet. But like, to get to a point where I would have like literally no one, I think the only way to do that would have to be completely self-inflicted, like, or just had some psychotic break, or just made every single poor decision possible, or got hooked on some crazy drug that just threw away everything in my life. Like, I think that's the only route. And I'm not going to discount that. I think, because again, we all have to continue to make choices every single day. And some people that we think are kind of on top of the world, like, they just go down a wrong path and could end up on the street. It's happened before, it'll happen again. So I'm not going to just consider myself completely immune to that. I think that's, you're just risking fate if you don't take your life into your own hands and know that you have to stay on top of things to avoid that. Ultimately, I think that's the only possible route, where I would just have to completely self-combust and sabotage myself to truly end up alone. But if I was really just making a solid effort and things just didn't work out in various ventures or whatever, I think there would just always be a fallback to get to. And so, again, that just was a reminder for just, really having gratitude and coming from a loving family, a loving home, the ability to have resources and get educated and skills built, and not having to worry about, digging through, dumpsters or trash bins to get some food. Or like Linica, I mean, she was just sleeping in trees, just outside all the time, or sleeping underneath train cars, and but still having to be cautious. Like, you can't get a good sleep out there. Imagine sleeping up in the high branches of a tree, trying to be away from people that might be, trying to, get you. I can't. I feel like I would just never be able to sleep. And yet, she just did that for days and weeks, months, at least a year on end, as far as where I'm in the book. Again, just astonishing, absolutely astonishing. And to know that that's not, she's not the only one that's ever had that story. Like, you think about, even, I don't know what city you're in. I mean, Austin, we have a decent amount of homeless, not as bad as it was a few years ago, but a lot of these folks just on the street, it puts the perspective in, like, when you pass them by. And I'm sure most of us listening here, tuning in, like, you probably have seen a number of these folks out on the street in your communities, or at least if you visit some of the cities, and to really be thinking about how hard this life is, and the fact that probably most of them do not want to be in that position. It's hard to imagine any who really do. So, some sense of empathy, I think, for our fellow humans, and a reminder of how much better we have it, and not to squander the advantages that we have. Like, use everything you've got to make it, because so many others would, literally kill for the opportunity. That is just a keen reminder. And that's like, okay, if Lena could make it, literally homeless at age 14, nothing at all, and she found a way to be successful in life, like, I have zero excuse, like literally zero excuse. So keep that in mind. Hopefully this resonates with you all. With that, seriousland.capital for any of your funding needs. Zero cost review of your land deals at Land Daily Diligence Facebook group, and landpricer.ai for the most reliable land pricing tool on the market. With that, everybody, subscribe and share. Hope you enjoyed this one. Take care. Bye.